Hey guys, Lolio here. So Warlords of Draenor is finally out, after a 14-month long content drought. And so far everyone seems to be having a pretty great time, right? I mean, the questing is nice, there's tons of voice acting which is really great, and overall the experience just feels really polished. At least, that's the sentiment from anyone who's actually been able to play the game. As you guys probably know if you've actually tried to log in recently, most of us aren't having a very good time. Since about midnight on the 13th, we've been dealing with all sorts of issues like constant server crashes, tons of massive lag spikes, really insane login queues, and when we finally do make it in-game, we're running into like buggy quests and spawning issues. I would say overall it's fairly safe to say that Warlords hasn't been the smoothest launch of an expansion. I think we all expected some minor problems. I mean, every expansion launch has had a period where there was some server instability, bits of lag, quest bottlenecks, things like that. But this one has been a lot worse than the others. I would say maybe Burning Crusade edges it out slightly in terms of overall downtime. I know right after BC launch, some servers were up and down for weeks, but I think that because it's been 8 years since that happened, the technology really should have evolved and gotten better. So I would say that Warlords, comparatively to the other expansions, is probably the worst expansion launch in WoW's history. People like to hate on Mists of Pandaria, but for all of its problems, it had a pretty smooth launch. There was, of course, that infamous Alliance gyrocopter bottleneck, but the servers seemed pretty stable overall, and Kata was similar. There weren't a ton of issues at launch. I think the question on most people's minds right now, aside from, when will it be fixed, is how this happened. Warlords has had like the longest development time of any expansion, and because Blizzard has released several other expansions for WoW, it's not their first rodeo. You would think that they would have the release down by now. You would think they would know what to expect. And I think the problem comes from a variety of things. Like, my guess is that even though when Pandaria came out, there actually were more subscribers, like, I believe it was over 10 million when Pandaria came out, and about 7.4 million now, I think that Warlords had more people trying to log in on launch night. And the reason I think that is because Warlords had a pre-purchase period for many months, and had already sold something like 1.2 million copies a few months before launch, whereas Mists of Pandaria, you could pre-order it, but they didn't have the ability to like pre-purchase it ever, I think. I think it's just, you could only buy it on launch night, or maybe you could pre-purchase it like 2 months in advance, something like that. But it only sold around 2.7 million copies in the first week. So the hype for Warlords was a lot larger, and I think the reason for that is that players were a lot more excited to this return to form with orcs instead of pandas, right? They want to log in and just go to Draenor and get out of Pandaland. I mean, we've been dealing with 14 months of the same content over 2 years of Pandaria, so everyone just wanted to rush into the new areas, see new stuff, probably more so than Cataclysm to Pandaria. It was definitely really amusing to read the reactions in general chat when on launch night for Warlords, Blizzard kept teleporting people back to Shrine because of the server issues. It was like they were saying, no, you will stay in Pandaria forever. But aside from that, I think that sending everyone in Draenor to the same zone, the Tanan intro experience, was a really bad idea. The only other time they ever sent people to such a small, condensed area was Hellfire back in BC, and obviously that didn't work out very well either. I mean, I guess you could argue Jade Forest, but they put the Alliance and Horde at opposite ends of the zone, and it was a pretty big zone overall, so I think it worked out a little bit better. But the Hellfire is a pretty good comparison, and it did not work out. I've been noticing that once people started making it into Frostfire and Shadowmoon, the servers got a lot more stable, so I do think that was a big factor. Of course, nobody's enjoying the constant crashes or login queues, but I've seen lots of people, bashing Blizzard for it. Like on the forums, people are, saying, I'm unsubbing, fuck you Blizzard, I hate you. And while I agree that it is kind of unacceptable at this point, Blizzard should have been prepared for this, getting mad on the forums doesn't help the issue. I mean, Blizzard is trying to solve it, they don't want this either. They're doing maintenance on the servers, which hopefully is going to fix a lot of these problems, but just going on the forums and bashing them isn't going to help the problem. I think it's really unfortunate that Warlords' launch problems are overshadowing the gameplay. It really does seem like the general reception has been very positive, more so than I expected, for the people who actually played the game. It is very hard to judge anything this early. We'll be on Draenor for what, a year, maybe 2, so it'll probably take some time to really get a sense for it and judge it accurately. But overall, I'm really liking it, and it seems like most people who are actually playing the game are enjoying it so far. I'll definitely say that if the questing in Draenor is indicative of what we'll be getting in the future, I'm really excited. The stuff in Tanan, Frostfire, and Shadowmoon especially, it's really great, it's excellent. I'd actually say that Pandaria had more innovative and different questing, but there were things like dragging a pot of soup to a village or rolling a fat guy back to town. Now Warlords, on the other hand, is carried by its theme and its characters and tons of great voice acting. Seriously, that adds so much to the immersion and atmosphere. But overall, yeah, Warlords has had a pretty shitty launch. I mean, no one is denying that. Like, it's pretty bad. But I'm almost positive that the issues we're having right now will all be gone within like a week at the most. And when that happens, I hope that people will look past the release and see the content for what it is. I mean, I'm sure not everyone is gonna like Draenor or Warlords, but personally, I'm really loving it. What about you guys? Have the server issues forever tainted your opinion on Warlords? Or are you gonna give it another chance? Anyway, that's all from me for now. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.